What's going on, everybody? It is Friday evening. Right now, 6:45 p.m. So there's probably no hope in this video getting uploaded tonight unless the internet and everything just perfectly aligns. Otherwise, you're going to see this tomorrow. However, I have notes right here. I just finished my first week with my very first employee in my business, and I wanted to share with you guys 5 major things that I've already learned and experienced that may be helpful for you if you're thinking about adding an employee to your business, or just curious to know what's happened in my first week with having someone new in my shop. If you're new here, my name is Sam, this is Samcraft the shop, and you're watching Samcraft the YouTube channel. There you go. In all actuality, I run a small scale manufacturing business out of my shop. That's what I do in real time, real world. But here on YouTube, I show you a little bit of business stuff in this realm. I do content for laser engraving machines, UV printer machines, maker related content, and of course, as I have items or products that I'm making sell, I also do advertising and promo for that because it's all sold under the Samcraft brand. If you're interested to see my other content, be sure and click on my channel down below and see what you can find. There's a lot of stuff about laser engraving machine, laser techniques, business stuff, UV printing, maker related stuff. It's a big smorgasbord down there because over the many years of having this YouTube channel, I have drug the people inside my camera along with me throughout whatever I've gotten into. So that being said, hi, welcome. Let's get into my list here of the 5 things I've already learned the first week having an employee. Okay, first things first, this employee is a family member, so that has allowed me to have a little bit of liberties that I may not otherwise have hiring a stranger in my shop. The liberties are not ones that I'm taking advantage of the person, but more so I have less dynamics and unknowns with the person who's in my shop than you would probably have, or I would have, if we just hired someone off the street, so to speak. So that has been really good already. Knowing the person, being able to, I guess, have a good history of who they are and what they do has really helped ease a lot of tension and has made a great, comfortable relationship already in the shop between the two of us. Now that's totally a bonus that I know not everyone's going to have. So it's not one of the 5 things on my list. And actually, most of the time, you would be advised against mixing business and family. Hopefully this one doesn't come back to bite me. I don't think that it will, but only time will tell. I'm gonna label this first section task offloading, because when you think of an employee, that's probably the #1 thing you are thinking of. How can I take whatever I do, my daily tasks, and offload them onto someone else? The first thing I did way back when I was actually chatting with some other friends and fellow business owners about the thought of, am I ready for an employee? What could they do? Was to sit down with a piece of paper and actually make this list. This is the actual list that I started many weeks ago. What I did was to think of very basic tasks that anyone could learn very quickly. For my particular business, that involved producing one of the products that I make and sell, in particular the Samcraft fat mats, the UV reusable silicone mats that are custom made here in my shop, which, hey, shameless plug, if you didn't know, they are 100% custom made in my shop. I'm not importing those from another manufacturer. No one else is cutting, branding, or doing those. It's me, well, and now the employee, but it all happens right here. Another task on the first tier list was my Amazon products, because doing Amazon as FBA or fulfilled by Amazon, it is a very basic, repetitive task over and over that's easy to get a handle of, get a grasp of, and is not going to change. So that's a good one to add as well. Number 3 on my basic list was shop cleaning and maintenance. Yeah, not fun, but it has to be done. Might as well get the employee to do it right. It doesn't mean that I just stand back and watch him work. I definitely jump in with him on cleaning. And as far as machine maintenance, there are some learning curves to that. So it's definitely something that he will get better at as time goes, or more importantly, as issues arise. But the goal is that this employee could take over the maintenance of all the machines in the business. Number 4 is also going to tie into another bullet point later on, but I have it as post office runs and UPS store runs. And then the last one on here for the basic tier of employee duties is inventory management. Now, I don't mean placing orders and spending money. I mean more so get accustomed to the shop, get accustomed to what we should have on shelves for either products or supplies such as shipping boxes. And when we get low or need to order, make a list, let me know, and I will order them. Tier 2 for my business has yet to happen. Again, we're only 1 week in on this employee's adventure into Samcraft, but these are more advanced things such as managing the print jobs, since we do have 3D printers for manufacturing. Also managing order fulfillment, packing them up, getting them ready, shipping them out, which is probably the most complex thing in the whole business because no two orders are the same, unless we're talking about Amazon FBA, but that doesn't count. We're talking about those orders that leave the shop directly from here to you if you're a customer. Everyone's different. That's a very complex process for a person to learn. It's also easy to mess up and could cost money, time, or customer support issues. So that's why I put it on the advanced list. And then the last two things that I could come up with when I made this list was to manage my customer communications, at least the initial stuff, whether it be through messaging through marketplaces that I sell at or through customer emails. The basic lower level things or the things that are easy to answer, getting an employee to field those first as a tier 1 level customer support is my idea, at least for the advanced portion. And of course, with any questions or any issues, I'm still here. They would come to me for direct help and addressing for customer support. So again, that was my first list. And so this is why I say task offloading. My direction or the pathway I'm choosing is to tackle it in stages. And then the great goal and benefit of offloading tasks is it allows us or me to double dip my chip of a day. Instead of me spending all of my time doing lower level tier 1 tasks, my employee can do that while I work on more advanced things or just work on chipping away at that never-ending to-do list and wish list that as a business owner, we always have. All right, bullet item number 2, I have written down as travel time equals keep the focus. What this means is I now have my employee taking all of the orders to the post office or the UPS store when they got to go out. Here where we are and with the products we sell, 99% of our shipments go out through the United States Postal Service. There is the option where we live that our mail carrier can pick up our totes, which we usually have totes of orders going out, but I don't want to ruin the guy's day. I don't want to become a very big issue and thorn in his side. So to maintain relations and also do our small local post office a favor, we take all of the orders every day to the post office and literally swap totes. Actually, hang on. Let me get a tote. You may not know what I mean. These guys right here, the plastic totes that are plastered with warnings and labels and all sorts of scary things, you can get these from your post office. And if you ship a lot of orders like we do, you can get as many as you want. What this allows you to do is have them stored in your business like we have here on our shelf. And as we pack orders, we put them in the totes. When it's time to go, the totes go to the post office and you literally walk in and say, hey, I've got 4 totes, let me swap you. Give them the 4 full ones, they give you 4 empty, you're good to go. Where we live, the post office is about 15 minutes away one way. So if you factor in 15 minutes there, 15 minutes back, a little bit of talk time, me not having to stop what I'm doing and drive there and come back saves me about 40 minutes or so. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But more importantly, and the reason I wrote keep the focus, is it allows me to not just lose my focus on whatever I'm doing. And that is really, really good for me, the boss or the innovator of the majority of the business. A lot of the times the things I'm thinking about and working on are not directly apparent. They're not problems that are right here in front of my face. I'm probably lost in thought, thinking of some weird, obscure thought that I'd want with the business. And so not having to stop to go to the post office, so far this first week, I found is really good to keep me on track. And it's given me the option to come up with some new ideas that I haven't had previously. Well, that's pretty cool. This next item here, I labeled as forced organization. I have 3 bullet points. The first one I'll show you because it's easy enough. That is having an employee here and thinking about how they're going to enter into this world and it's going to be very foreign to them. They're not going to know all of this. They will not have started this from the ground up like me. And for my employees' personal case, they don't have any experience using 3D print machines or lasers. That forced me to think and approach everything as if it were new. One of the tasks that the employee does every single day is to check the printers, make sure they're unloaded, they're clean, but then refill print filament. On that subject alone, taking something out of the printer, putting it in there, cleaning it, that's pretty basic. But the level of organization, or the reason I have organization here, comes with the filament. In my mind, I know what machines are here. I know what colors and options and filament selections go into them, and I have that in my head. But no one else is in my head but me. So instead, what I did was put some little labels, just plain white stickers, on the actual printers. The first one labels it and says what the machine's name is. And then the second is up there on the AMS systems where the filament loads, and it says exactly what filament are expected to be in what slot. This way the employee can come in, and when he gets to his point where he says, all right, I'm refilling filament, he doesn't have to ask me. He goes and looks at the machine. It's written right there. I guess you could consider it a very loose policy or procedure. He can see what should be there and fill it up as need be. That one piece of organization has really made a big difference just in the daily tasks for him. After about the first day, he's got it down pat, he knows what to do, and he's able to do all of that without asking me, which keeps me on track mentally or whatever other work I'm doing, but also gives him the good feeling of, I'm doing this on my own, I can have ownership over this task, look at me. Know what I mean? The second thing on my list here under forced organization is digital structuring. Since a lot of what I do in my business begins on a computer, whether it is 3D print models, laser files for cutting or engraving and things like that, being organized inside of a computer is very important. It's something I've always tried to do, but having an employee and knowing that that is coming very soon on the stage 2 of my employee duties and training, like I talked about earlier, is making me be more organized. And this is good because my business has a ton of different products that are made and sold, a lot of different options, varieties, and the more organization that can be put into place is the best. That's going to be the only way it's going to happen. It's got to have structures and file systems in place that are understandable, logical, and easily accessed. For me, that means synchronizing files between workstations. As you see over my shoulder here, this is our shipping and order fulfillment station, but then my desk is right there on the other end of this wall. And so using a service such as Dropbox that synchronizes files across machines is invaluable for this. I don't have to worry about managing file structures on multiple terminals. If a computer dies, it's not the end of the world because everything is synchronized and backed up through Dropbox on their cloud service. Another thing to think of, and if you're a business owner, which I guess I assume you are if you're watching this video, is what happens if you're hit by a bus? What happens if you can't come into work tomorrow? Maybe it's not as dramatic as you got squished by a bus, but can people follow your footsteps? Can people find where your stuff is stored? Is there any hope that your family or your employees have any kind of security if that bus has squished you? This is the subject point that honestly every business owner should be thinking about, whether you're looking at employees or not, especially if you have a family that relies on you or your business as income. So for this one, it is number 3 on my list, but it's big. It's a number 1 in my head, but it's something that's going to always be happening, needing to be improved, and constantly being worked on. All right, bullet point number 4, I labeled as shop efficiencies with the subtitle of new eyes equal new ideas. Already in this first week, as my employee has been learning the ropes and seeing things, he's asked some questions and pointed out some things that have given me new ideas. It's so cool to see my business from someone else's eyes, someone who is eager to learn, who I can teach things without the concern of they're going to take it and run or have a security leak here. And it is also very cool to see from his perspective things that I take for granted or honestly I've never even considered. I've already got a couple of new product ideas from conversations we've had and just from a basic orientation of things in here. And that is probably something I never would have got if I had not introduced someone new into the space. So from that sense, if you're thinking of employees, you can also think of them as a safe set of new eyes to look how things are run, maybe the things you make and sell or offer, and there always could be options for improvements, new products, or new processes. All right, bullet point number 5 is not as awesome and amazing, but I am labeling it as upcoming changes. In this first week, I've already identified some changes and improvements that need to happen in this physical space from having the employee. Number 1, I need to give him a workstation. I want to give him a desk area in here so he can have, for his own area, his own little bubble of operations, so to speak. It will be good for organization, having an area where he can be so he's not sharing desks with me or someone else. And also, I don't know, having a sense of your own workspace kind of gives you buy-in, or it gives you, I don't know, a feeling of, I don't know what I'm trying to search for, but makes you feel like you're a part of the team more so. Maybe that's it. You're not just at a side table, maybe feeling like you're in the way. You've got your own space, you got your own area where you can get your work done, you can be organized, and you can think about things and innovate. And it just, to me, is very important to give an employee. Now, given based upon your business and your work zones or space you're in, this may not be an option for you. And for us, for a little while, it's going to be a squeeze because there's a lot of stuff in here. This is not a very big shop now that it has up to 3 people working at a time between myself, my wife, and the employee. And then, of course, with all the machinery you see around us. I'm hoping that my new workshop space, which is being built, and I talked about in my last video, I'm hoping that that's going to alleviate a lot of the crunches of people and or equipment in the space. If not, and if things continue to grow, you know what? Bust a wall down and expand. It's going to be really exciting to see what comes in the near future and over the months and years with having employees in the shop. I'm really excited to grow my business for my customers, to be able to bring more exciting content to you guys, and then also, okay, maybe this is what I'm most excited for. I'm able to offload the things that have been absolutely consuming my time, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, every day of the week, so that I can get back to making content for you guys. I love making content, teaching, sharing things, of course, learning new technologies with machines and equipment, innovating new products, and I haven't been able to do that as much because I've been running day-to-day operations. I'll end out this video with 3 little things that I just scribbled on my notepad as I was thinking, and they apply to me. It's thoughts I want to think, but maybe they'll help you too. They are: be a cool boss, give responsibility, and foster free thinking. That's 3 things that I would like my employee to think or to be given in my business, and maybe that'll help you too. Otherwise, there's my 5 things after my first week with having an employee in my business, my very first employee. I'd be interested to know, what do you think? Are they great ideas, terrible ideas? If you have employees and you have ideas, oh goodness, if you're willing to share them, I am all ears. If you're also here as a viewer, check out that comment section. I hope and expect there to be some really great golden nuggets of advice down there that could help all of us. Otherwise, enjoy the weekend if you're watching this real time. If not, there's going to be a video pop up here. YouTube thinks you may like it. I appreciate you hanging out with me as always. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.